The Thermostat, Dispensary Adventures, and Cooking with Josh and his mom. All this and more on today's Brilliant Observations. Do, 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 do.
Well, hello, my blonde-headed love. How are you, Melissa?
You're saying my blonde-headed love because my grays are coming in and they are really lightening me up this fall. I am well. I am okay. How are you today, Miss Amy?
Well, I'm drawn to the length and shape of your hair, which normally I am not. How frequently do you get it cut? Right? It's like it never changes. I just happen to, because my hair is so overgrown, and I'm in the I'm contemplating a big chop, and I look at you, and it occurs to me now. I am struck by the visual that your hair never fucking changes. Like I'm sure you cut it. Do you cut it like microscopically? Do you cut it daily by some imperceptible amount so that it never? Are you a Hollywood hair cutter so that it never changes from episode to episode? How describe your maintenance technique, please?
I think I do what everybody else does. I just chew the edges in bed at night. I just pull them close to my mouth and I chew off the edges. And every morning I wake up.
It's the rat policy.
Yes,
that's gross.
Doesn't everybody do that?
Stop. Just stop it.
I don't know. Every 6 weeks I go and I get a haircut. I make the appointment the day I get the appointment for the next one. And it's cyclical. I just go when my calendar
Keep it
says.
rolling.
Yeah, that's what I do. I thought that's what everybody does. Well, you don't typically, with consistency, color your hair. So
that's part of the challenge, yeah.
So when you do this higher level maintenance, then you need to stay on top of it, and to have a hair person who stays on top of it for you is the bestest.
Well, my hair is dark. It's darker, at least. It is a shade of brown. All the shades of brown are my hair.
Brown.
So, and including gray.
And including gray.
Because I have tons and tons, yes, so of leaves on the head. And the stylist is continually trying, and she succeeds every so often, to convince me into a style where the hair is going to grow out gracefully and the dye job won't be like a shelf, so that as it grows out, you're less aware that it's growing out. I mean, I prefer very visible, distinct, almost graphic highlights. It's like you look and you're like, oh, wow, and it's gorgeous. But then, just like a black car, there's nothing more sexy and beautiful than a black car until it's dirty, and then there's nothing more disgusting, right? So same thing with there's nothing more beautiful than pristinely highlighted hair, and nothing more disgusting than when it's growing out and it's, roots and splice and trees going to screech. It's ridiculous hair every which way. So she always wants to do kind of an ombre and a paint effect. And so I end up with this Joseph's Technicolor Dream Paint all over my fucking hair. Long and the short of it is, it's past time. I've been using little powders and brushes and applicators and just for men. Pro tip. It's not just for men.
It is not.
Women can use it too.
What
right. Like the rest of the world, it's not just for men. Yes, we're here too. So blah, blah, blah. I'm contemplating a big chop. It's down to my waist. It is too long. It's stupid. It's stupidly long. Why is it this way?
Okay.
It curls at the end. So it's
okay.
Anyway, I'm contemplating a big chop. What? I can't talk about a chop?
No, you put questions in there. It is not too long if you are not above or beyond the maintenance of it. It is very long hair she's showing me right now. If you keep up with, I'll give you a dog reference because that's all I got. I don't got friends, I got dogs. We see a dog every day on the walk who's a golden doodle with flowy locks. You would think in a car this was a woman who was driving or a shotgun. Gorgeous flowy locks. Somebody obviously brushes that dog nightly. We do not provide.
Yeah, I don't know who those people are or how they live that way. Yeah, that's too much work for another living human in your home. I wouldn't maintain a child to the degree that some of these people have their pets and cats. It's like this thing doesn't even exist to do anything except fucking mooch off you. There's no amount of joy that cohabitation can bring you as a pet owner.
Disagree.
That you're going to put up with that level of horse shit. Your dogs don't require any maintenance. You invent maintenance for them because you're like, I need to give you more things than you have. They're not asking for it, nor do they need it. Nay, do they want it?
Nary
Instead,
a thing.
you douse them with it. Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I hear you.
You would say shower someone with affection. You're more like fire hose dousing them. Here comes the affection.
I am going to drown you currently in my affection. As you are marinating prior to drowning, please realize it's love that is choking you to death. Take care. Bye. Yeah, I don't take that kind of care of my dogs.
Yeah.
I'll groom them. I'll bring them to be groomed. I'll take even the side eye I get from the groomer who's like, bitch, you didn't brush this fucking dog. Bitch, I never said I did. Could you do your job now that you overcharge me for? Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a lot. It's a
ridiculous.
whole bunch. I have questions. I come here with questions for Amy.
I have answers.
I also have stories. I am once again at the beach. This is probably one of my last weekends where it's going to be beautiful. Today was a weird day because my husband woke up in pain and we thought nothing. He thought.
Is he pregnant?
I might be pregnant. I have this pain in my back. I don't know what it is. I want to be seen. Now, dear listener, if you are an avid listener, you know my husband works in an emergency department and he gets shit like this all the time. He went right to the emergency today. He went to that fun little department and said, I am presenting with, gave them the whole, made it so easy for them, and yet still spent 4 or 5 hours there today.
At the beach?
At the beach
At the
hospital.
beach emergency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think once a provider has their own experience with pain, discomfort, sitting, waiting, let's put that up there, waiting for a physician, waiting for results, they become a more sympathetic provider. So no, nobody wishes this on their provider.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember that Twilight song. It's in my head and it's in there wrong. Back to Stuart in the emergency room. Meanwhile.
So everybody, he's okay. But it's interesting that I feel personally that he is going to become a better doctor because of this experience. Am I Delulu or
no,
is that
I'm
possible?
curious. I think that's great and admirable goal. How's his pain abatement? That's the point of the story. Did he get better? Did they help him? Or did they just cash his check and send him back to the sand?
Definitely cashing his check and saying it's not a big issue. It's what they do in the emergency department. Thank God you don't know this. Is they rule shit out. They don't fucking know, but they rule shit out. Is it cancer? Check minus. Okay, yay.
Is there a protruding dagger in your vertera?
Did your wife do this to you? Correct. That's the question. And
did
so
a dragon chomp your testicles? No. Okay.
Dragon,
Next.
no scorch marks.
They just look?
Clearly they're linked. They looked on the inside, which brings me back to the business that I wanted to do, which is a PET scan for everybody to take a peek on the inside and see if they're growing anything fun. And then, but you're shaking your head because nobody wants that.
Wow. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot that happened to him today. And you. It's a lot. It's a lot of medical. It's a lot. And what did they discover? When they said inside, I thought you meant he got a proctological ding-dong.
No.
And I thought, you know what? That's another one last week. Let's go to the beach. I know. Let's give blood and get some vaccinations. What should I do next time? I know. I got a proctological exam.
No, thank you. I don't know anybody requesting those for funsies. I mean, maybe you lost something.
No.
But maybe you sat on a Fusilli Jerry and you need it removed. I don't know, but
Right. If you're into that kind of thing, I don't think you want to go to the emergency room to get it. There are better locations and, frankly, partners to help you with this service. It's not something you don't need health insurance for that. Get it elsewhere.
You need insurance if you're into that. I'm going to disagree right there. Eventually, that suction is going to pull something up there you're going to need help finding. And we have x-rays to prove it. We have lots of x-rays to prove it. Come on. They're all sphincters that have a. Anyway, I'm curious, in your home, who controls your thermostat?
Well, it's just one person, and that person is called not me. It's just the one, just the jackhole, just the man of the home.
And
just the technological jackface who set it up when we built and specificationized the fucking system. See, here's the thing that my non-Dockers wearing Dockers user, he's like a look buddy in 80, he's an 80% look buddy, and then the rest of the time it just falls off. And a look buddy, of course, is somebody who at 6:45 on Saturday morning is standing there with the steaming travel mug already filled with coffee, scrolling through the phone, waiting for you to come out because we got to get to the Home Depot before we get to Costco. Let's go. We've got a packed morning. Come on, guys. And then when we come home, we're going to rearrange all the drawers. I think I might clean out the attic. And guess what? Let's just double check the taxes. That's a fucking look buddy, okay? That's a look buddy. They're on it. They have a balanced checkbook with a physical checkbook with actual numbers, and maybe sometime for fun, they just run a self-audit to see if they could save some different money. This is a look buddy. First of all, let me just tell you before we get back to the thermostat, okay? The other day, I stumbled into the bathroom, and he was delaying brushing his teeth, holding his toothbrush and his phone with a quizzical look on his face. And I thought, Jesus Christ, what now? So, yes, indeed, he was frustrated because he said the sentence, right? He said it out loud. He actually said this, and I absorbed it.
Go ahead.
My toothbrush is no longer syncing with my phone. And I just exited the bathroom with hysterics. Okay? You don't need that. If the phone is not, if it's your teeth and oh God. Okay, look, buddy, because you go to all this data collection effort, but then there's not a spreadsheet that helps you optimize your brushing schedule. So you're just data collecting for no reason because you're an 80% look buddy. Back to the thermostat. He set up this whole system so that we could track what we get. He brings it up at cocktail parties, how well we're doing in our energy consumption, and that we're beating the Duke Power statement when it comes and tells us if we're above or below and gives us a little gold star. All this stupid shit. He forgot the password, so he can't let anyone else in to change. So it's totally controlled by his phone. He forgot the password to the point where if he logs out, we're fucked. There's no way to change the password or recall it. So if he's asleep, you got to hold the phone in front of his face. It's too much shit. And we have two different systems, one upstairs and one down. The upstairs system got so bad, the poor children locked out as they were. We sleep on the first floor. Locked out. Please, sir, please, please. Melting, dripping, dying. They're like people dying in the attics in the South on the Underground Railroad, right? There is ridiculous. They're up there.
Is this a V.C. Andrews book? Okay.
Unable to make it. It took until we had guests complain about it. And the solution when the guests complained was not to lower the thermostat upstairs, which he has every capability to do using his phone if he would simply press the button to a lower number. No, we paid to install ceiling fans, which he refused to get when we built the house because he said, and I quote, "I hate ceiling fans. They're stupid." The whole story is we're fucked, and it's not my fault. It's not my fault. Yeah, I see a ceiling fan in the shot while I'm talking to you behind your head.
Yeah, you do. We disagree. Okay, so your husband is the sole human who has control
the
of that.
Republican candidate for governor in North Carolina, but he is a temperature Nazi, right? The running joke is the Republican candidate in North Carolina. It has come out recently that he was on a porn forum calling himself a black Nazi proudly. And that's not even the worst of what he said. So, yes. So my husband is a temperature Nazi. He is ridiculous. He freezes us out and steams us out for no apparent reason, gathering data for no apparent reward with no plans to change it. It goes so far as I've told you this before, when he is at his office and I am home, he will randomly decide the temperature in the home that I am inhabiting is not to his liking. So he'll turn it up or down while I'm in here. And he's not fucking home. So I got to call him on the phone and say, dick hole, back it off or you will come home to a baseball bat. Cut the shit because I can't change it myself. Who controls your temperature?
You're getting mad. Whoever takes their little pokey fingers and walks over to it. So when we get the same, you're doing way worse than everybody in your neighborhood, we're like, wait, what?
But that's kind of chaos, though. I'm in prison. I'm in jail, but it's not chaos. Yeah. It's one really unfortunate temperature setting. And then that's it, though. There's no variation. You're just screwed. That's how it is. You're stuck on it.
We talked in previous episodes about how 70 degrees in the winter is so much different than 70 degrees in the summer in your home. And it is night and day. It is Hades and Frozen. And it is like all the things. How is that possible? But to not have control over it, that might make me fucking crazy.
Yep.
Well, that kind of explains a little bit.
It's not fun. It's not great. It's just love.
Dear listener, I have been sending Amy a series of videos from TikTok about I want to say Southern woman.
Mentally
and
deranged. Yeah.
It's a good quiz. I don't know what she is. With her son, who's 20. How old do you think her son is? We got to look at him in one or two videos.
I've never looked at him because I have such a hard time getting through these TikToks that you repeatedly and incessantly send me. All I hear is her grating, moronic face-voice combo talking to the camera, presumably held by the bumbling imbecile that is her spawn, right? And him going, Mama, Mama. People don't fucking talk that way, number one. I live here. I know. But keep going. They don't.
The reason Amy is so angry is because not only is it sound like Southern ignorance and she's in the South and does not interact with this ignorance, it is cooking. It is Southern ignorant cooking. I mean, to the point where...
Cooking is a euphemism for what? Cosplay? Like, they're not cooking. It's not cooking. And the fact that they eat it at the end, that was the thing that was the most shocking. You sent me this stuff. They could have been doing it with cardboard paper and glue sticks. It was not food. They started with some food ingredients, and by the end, it was simply inedible objects commingling on a plate. Paper plate. Here's what I couldn't believe.
Tell me, because I am all in on the two of them. That people live like this,
because they don't, and I'm convinced the whole thing's a put-up job.
It's a
I'm
shtick?
convinced the whole thing is just content that they are pretend. Nobody ever. And then I sat through one of them all the way to the end. I believe it was the hot dogs suspended on spaghetti that you sent me. Okay, so you heard me right. Take rock hard, raw, narrow strips of unprocessed spaghetti out of the box and skewer hot dogs in the middle so that you have a kind of caterpillar-like
centipede. It looks
Why
like.
one would do this, I have no idea, because I skipped to the end because I thought I don't want this in my brain. I don't want to be any part of this.
And now it's in your algorithm.
It's sickening. Then they had a table of other people, like 5 people seated at the table with that kind of oilcloth table runner, and they were just sitting there with their forks and their paper plates, facing their plates and eating their food like they were in some sort of prison cafeteria. They were just eating like this was their dinner. Nobody was gagging, which didn't make any sense because I saw what was served. They were just sitting there eating it like it was a regular food product, which it's not.
That they see regularly. They were utilizing a lot of cream of soups. They were utilizing a lot of Alfredo. They took out ramen from its intended spice packet and just used that as a... It is
I can tell you,
collegiate / prison
no, it's
food
not,
at
it's
best.
Not collegiate food. If you
My kids aren't eating like that, but they're older.
attended any institution of any learning, you know not to cook this food, or you know not to handle objects in this way. We can't keep calling it cooking. And I'll give you the example. Okay? I'm making Alfredo, Josh.
That's the
I'm
accent,
making chicken Alfredo. Stop, not today. She's ridiculous, okay? Into a vessel, she dumped ramen noodles. Yes, ramen noodles that one would make with boiling hot water and a styrofoam cup. She separated the noodles from the chicken packet and said, this is the flavor. So she took the chicken packet, took the noodles, laid them out to make a design in the bottom of the plate. Poured jarred Alfredo sauce, which one could argue is probably just mayonnaise. Poured it on top of these raw noodles. No other liquid. Dumped that shit in there. Sprinkled the chicken powder packet on top of the Alfredo sauce. On top.
I just remembered the protein in it.
Didn't mix it in. Just sprinkled it. So now you have like brown sawdust particulate on top of the, mayonnaise mucal layer slurry. Then
on top of the rectangles of hard
no
noodles.
other liquid, no nothing for moisture, just the glop and then the dust. Then she opened a can.
Yes, this is the offensive part.
If you weren't offended by now, there's a real problem. Okay, we might need a separation. Okay, she opened a can. There's a product called canned chicken, and it's like tuna that comes in a can. Inexplicably, it's cooked, processed, once chicken segments that have been molded into the can shape, and she opened it over her dish and then upturned it. So the entire contents of the can
liquid
went into that nonsense. Then she used her actual fingers, not a spoon, not a surgical glove, nothing, right? Not a flamethrower, to literally pick and separate the chicken so that that product was more or less evenly distributed, some might say dotting the filth atop which it sat. Put the whole thing.
Was the liquid.
Oh, then crumbled cheese on top of it. Put the whole thing into some kind of filthy oven. That's the other thing. Their kitchen is not clean.
It's circa 1973.
It's a very, very dated, non-aesthetic household. The cabinet, the door to whatever must be the next room or the pantry is a sheet hanging for. So I mean, it's a old ass white refrigerator. You maybe grew up in this house, you know what it is. But I guess you cleaned your house. The counter is not clean. The dishes there are dirty dishes next to what she's cooking. The oven itself is gross. Like,
yeah, you could see what she's cooked. I have a question though. When she reached under the sink to get cooking products, did you lose your fucking mind like I did? I'm like, what could she be getting underneath the sink that's going into this recipe? That's cleaning stuff?
I remember it so vividly because it was a traumatic event for me. Okay?
Like, what
so
are you
doing? First of all, the fact that she even has this product is just another problem. I don't remember but I remember that act of violence. She went to her sink, opened the underneath cabinet, put her hand on a jar of Raid, picked it up, put it down, moved another jar, which was like Windex or something like this, but what looked like the jar of Raid was a very tall jar of concentrated lemon juice because it had the kind of same shape and coloration as the Raid jar.
I wonder how many times she mistook one for the other.
The levels of sickness involved. Let's just start by saying that product should not exist. It is. You shouldn't be buying lemon juice in a jar, in a concentrate like that. Period. There's no more to be said. Don't buy it. They shouldn't market it. It should be illegal.
It's not like lemons grow on trees.
Illegal. It's not even. Yeah. The last time I looked at it, thinking, who would even have this? I'm certain it's not even proper lemon juice. It's not because it doesn't last. It's not something that doesn't work.
And you wouldn't store something you're putting
Thank
on
you.
food underneath the sink
Thank
with the
you.
Raid.
Let's-
What are
here's-
you
here's
doing,
the
woman?
19th point that we could make about this. Once you open that jar, it needs to be refrigerated, and it has a shelf life, just like oil,
Yeah.
just like vinegar. These are not permakeeps. You don't just open it like nuts. You don't just have them because somebody bought them 2 years ago. They go rancid. So that weird gasoline-looking slurry that she was dumping on top of whatever the hell she was making, I remember she took rock hard, totally frozen, non-thawed fish slabs, like someone gutted an entire fish. It wasn't fillet.
Oh my God, that's right.
It wasn't
Pry them
fillets.
apart with
These
her
were
little nubby
larger than your
fingers.
open-handed palm, and she just put them in the thing, sprinkled them dead ass frozen with the lemon juice. And I think that's what they showed us sitting at the kitchen table eating their fish, because the side dish she served with that, I have to just say it. This is when I started to question my own logic. Up until this point, I thought, this is for comments, this is for engagement. They know how to cook. They know this is ridiculous. Mama, they know this is a joke, right? This is an entertainment. This is a reality show. This is a con job. Everybody knows it. And then I saw her make the limas. And I saw the woman eat it.
Oh, yeah. I had no idea. She had two mixtures going on at once that she was stirring together.
So she was talking about potato salad, and it's not at all what she made. And I'm not even going to go there because it truly, it was a hate crime. But the other one, she opened a can of lima beans, dumped that, no draining, no rinsing, dumped that into a pot, into which she spooned easily a half a jar of mayonnaise. Heated it together.
What kind of mayonnaise? What kind of
Duke's.
mayonnaise? It was Duke's.
Heated it
It was
together.
Duke's, yeah.
I got to be honest with you. It wasn't even Duke's. It was generic, ShopRite, Safeway, Food Line. It was some store brand. It wasn't even Duke's. It was whatever sold me this mayonnaise. Glops and glops of it into the saucepan where she stirred and heated those limas until the mayonnaise became some kind of a sauce.
Curdled.
And then put that on a plate and people ate it. At what point are you not a fucking hobo on the side of the road? Okay, the only thing separating you two is a can opener and the jar of mayonnaise. Because really, you could just eat the limas straight from the pit of despair that you already started. I don't get any. I don't.
Mama, this is delicious. I had no idea this would be. And the pie she tried to make with like grape.
I'm making
a
a
say
grape pie.
soda.
I'm making a water pie.
A water pie. What
Idiot.
Look, just because, and my question really is, besides how offended are you for the sake of food, how much money do you think they're making for being that stupid and trying to kill each other with that food? Are they making money
If
doing
they are
that?
involved in the creator fund, they have enough followers and they have enough views that they are making some money on it into the low thousands. Yes.
Okay,
Well, and you
that's
also
crazy.
saw that you saw that
they'll
Jules
need it
LeBron
for
went to Bottega
medical
Veneta.
attention.
You saw this. They flew her first class and, sent her to a fashion show and put her up in Milan and all the rest of it. I mean, there's somebody who very mindful, very demure, made some money on the shit that I heard, and all the TikToks now say, dreams do come true. I was a cashier and now I make a living off TikTok. I've been to Italy for a fashion show. I've flown first class. I've moved out of my dinky apartment. All this stuff, right? And good for fucking you for saying a stupid sentence a couple of times. So if Lima Bean Lady can make it happen on the basis of her shit, then I guess more power to you. But she's cooking in scrubs. She's there cooking in scrubs. She's either a dental hygienist or some kind of medical aide or someone. I don't think that she's a leading the medical team based on the way she's operating that stove. And if she is, I'm afraid for our care because none of it is healthful.
I was wondering how high I would need to be to eat anything that the two of those crackheads cooked, and I could not decipher how high that would have to be. And I got to visit 2 new dispensaries this weekend. I
wish I could fucking remember it. We have to find it. Okay, go.
I got really excited going to a new dispensary because when you try out someplace new, they give you like a crazy discount on your very first purchase, which encourages you to buy more, knowing that you're getting.
Oh, my little try before you buy.
Try
That's a way to be a dealer.
as you buy. Yes, love that. And then we pulled into the parking lot, and the parking lot had 2 businesses in it, and they were both dispensaries.
Hey!
How is that a possible business plan to have your biggest, I guess, like your competition?
It's like that Simpsons episode with Albert Brooks was the CEO of something, and Simpsons says, "Where do I buy a hammock?" Well, there's Hammocks R Us, and then there's
we
Love
do hammocks.
Then there's Hammocks and Sons. They're all right there. It's on Hammocks Row.
You've seen a mattress store on one corner, mattress factory on one corner, mattress firm on another, and mattresses on the third corner. You've seen 4 different gas stations.
Mattresses.
Marsha mattresses.
Oh.
So you've seen that, but dispensaries, it's a little more niche. Like you have, I don't know.
Is it though?
Well, I went to both. Because
you're proving their point.
Why the fuck not? I even said at the first one, what the fuck? And they're like, we know, but we do have different products. I'm like, you got weed? They said, yes. They got weed? Yeah. Okay. Like, if you say so.
McDonald's, Wendy's,
Burger King, Roy Rogers.
Burger King, Taco Hells, whatever, Arbalins, all of them.
What was that last one?
Culver's. Culver's is actually really good. There's such a thing as.
Do you have Canes by you?
Yes, we have lots and lots of Canes.
Okay.
They're I think they're a Carolina thing.
Are they?
I think they were started here. Raisin Canes.
Go for you. Good for you.
It's nice. It's good.
My favorite part of dispensary number 2, besides the fact that everybody who works there is just fucking delightful. They're so nice,
relaxed,
and chill, and tie-dyed and ungroomed, and they're just all. Well, that was the first one. The second one I went into smelled like the ocean. They had more scenty things going on than ever before. I did not smell weed at all in that one.
That's the only one I'm going to go to. I really don't like weed smell. We had some wine delivered yesterday. The box smelled like weed. The delivery guy smelled like weed.
The delivery guy, yeah.
It's just like we had to throw the box out. Normally, it's nice to keep it in the kind of crate that they give you. No, it's gross. I don't like that. If there was a weed place that didn't smell like weed at all. If there was weed that didn't have anything to do with weed, check the box. That works for me.
That's why you're an edible girl. I will take you there when you come down. This first one was the Please Touch Museum of dispensaries. You got to pick up a strain, right? You in a glass jar, you picked up a strain and you put it on what was like what's that thing called when you get the 360 view and it pops up in the air?
A hologram?
You got a hologram. Thank you. Hello, Melissa. Put your brain together. You're podcasting today. You got a hologram of the notes in it. You got a hologram of the terpenes that are in it. This one has more of an elevated feel. Will lead to look carefully at and touch here and see what the terpenes are and see how those will affect your mood and your, I don't know, weight and your whatever it is. It gave you a full lecture on every strain and what to expect from it and other people's feelings after using it. And it was crazy interactive. Now, my husband does not participate in my reindeer games. Never has. Maybe someday in retirement I'll drag him down in the gutter with me. But he is clean-cut Joe, which surprises everybody who's ever known me.
He is a non-annoying look buddy, for real. He gathers the data, he processes the data, but he's also normal and good to be around. But he's also awake with a travel mug too early on a Saturday.
That is true, but he also carries those spreadsheets in case maybe you can benefit from all of the research he has done. He, however, shares the passwords so that we can all use the Nest.
Right.
He's a sharer of that information.
Right.
He sat outside for almost an hour as I went from one to the other. They're so nice and lovely inside. They just kept talking. I'm like, well, my sober husband is in the car, so I need to leave now. But
it 100% follows that the experiential Bud Bar has prices that are 40% higher.
They're a hint higher, yes. I wouldn't go
Guaranteed
that high.
It's 40%.
But they are a hint higher than that.
You can do a price selection, or you can find a product that they both sell, and I guarantee you it's 40% higher. Or
because they have a
do
gimmick?
A price match. It's not a gimmick. They are offering you an experience. When you buy a custom handbag, when you buy a high, take the wrap it carefully and talk to you gently, and all the fucking things that happen, right? As opposed to this woman in her kitchen, is it rat poison or is it lemon juice? We'll find out when we taste it. Like there's all kinds of ways for you to have this transaction, and they are making up for it with their knowledge of the clientele who inhabit that area while on
both.
Vacation, and they are interested in things like, doesn't stink in here of weed? Check, I'll pay a premium. Has a holographic display? Check, I'll pay a premium. Has me feel like I'm shopping at Erewhon? Check, I'll pay a premium. Right? There, you can get the same weed from the boot of somebody's car. It'll get you just as high, but you won't feel quite as safe.
We have a friend with whom we travel regularly, you and I, and we went to Manhattan with her. Maybe we've talked about this on here before. And we went into Dylan's Candy Bar. That is Ralph Lauren's daughter, Dylan Lauren, and she opened a gorgeous, we've talked about this too, incredible candy bar. It has retro. It has everything you could possibly want. Sugar. Say it for me.
Sugar.
Yeah, it has all the sugar in every form, the sticky, the powder, everything. Well, several couples, we all walked in there and we're like, you know what? We're traveling without our kids. Let's get a little something. Let's get a little something here. And we have one friend who took pictures of the candy to send to her children because she doesn't give her kids sugar.
They'd never seen anything like this before. It was pornography. Even the visual catalog seemed like such a mecca that such a place could exist, right?
Neverland.
Contact high through the phone, just from the sucralose going all the way onto the keyboard. They were very excited.
That's how I was, and I wanted to be in this dispensary where I just wanted to take pictures and share it with my family and my children just to show.
Well, it does sound delightful. It sounds like the kind of place for people who really like the effects of weed but don't really like weed. They don't like weed culture. They don't like the word weed. They don't want any part of that. They just want the effect of it. This is,
for you. It's for you.
Well, giving up alcohol, but I'm looking for the results of the alcohol, right? This is a cocktail instead of a joint, right? So
correct.
Yeah. And there's a place for all of it. If it's legal, why the fuck not?
Well, it is legal here in New Jersey now, and it is popping up everywhere. And while in there, I got a couple of things that I think you might like. So
hey.
Yeah, there is one like by the Godfather of whatever. I will try those and let you know, and I will put them in your bedroom at the beach house for when you return, which is also my son's bedroom. So hurry up before he gets down here and uses that.
Classy.
I thought it was genius. I was all in and totally interested in everything they had to show me. In the past, you have taught me about quiet quitting.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is going to work and just doing the bare minimum and just getting out of Dodge. I heard about coffee badging this week.
What is that?
Everybody's required to go back to work now, and they're all pissed about it. So they go in.
Are. Yes.
Swipe their badge, have a cup of coffee, attend a meeting, do no work there, and then leave. And go home. If there's work to do, you're still working from home, but you are giving the face time that your boss is requiring, even though you're not really doing the work there anyway. How many different ways are we going to come up with to not work at work?
This notion of requiring people to be in the physical space, we have established definitively that the majority of businesses, industry, productivity don't rely on people being in the same place. Some really, truly do. Some things really, truly do benefit by having that vibe of another human or humans all together collaborating. For the most part, they don't. And it's a rental situation where these corporations invested in the infrastructure of the building and can't get out of the lease. And so they have to pay for it. So they are requiring the employees to show up. And the employees have learned that I am saving 2 hours a day by not commuting even to some place that's physically close to my home. When you factor in things like the different level of dress and preparation and shower and packing of food and packing of lunch, etc., and the amount of money that's saved on required lunch and breaks otherwise handled at your home with things that are in your home, to have duplicative stuff to take with you and transport. Blah, blah, blah. The amount of crap that has to happen just to be somewhere else versus I can be home, I can do it much better here for you and for me, and I save money. So now when you're requiring me to go back, that's actually costing me money that I don't get back before you even talk about my time, before you even talk about my sanity. That's how that whole thing about
sanity too, yeah.
That's how that whole thing about quiet quitting actually really started, because it was, there's nowhere else for me to go. I kind of need this job, but I also don't need to work under the terms that workers faced in the 1940s. Like it's time for the overlords to figure out, we don't maybe really fucking need you, man. We've got the power. So this notion of coffee badging, I used to do that in advertising just because the pressure was for everyone to physically be in the office because that's how they build our time. So you were there for very long hours despite a complete lack of productivity. They just simply wanted you there billing hours because back in the day, you couldn't bill the hours if you weren't in the office. There was no such thing as you're like billing in the car. We're not lawyers, right? So you had to be there concepting, working, sitting, wasting your own fucking time. We weren't working. We were just inhabiting the building.
And it was fun. I'm not going to lie. I've had many, many jobs. And, you know, my kids work remotely, right? They work for my sister-in-law, and they are doing work for her law firm. They are billing. They are processing checks. They are moving all of the information into this weird program they have for lawyers, for personal injury. Like, they are killing it. They are working very hard. They don't understand that they might not have to work that hard. They are doing above and beyond. I think the people who are giving them casework, who are legit in the brick and mortar where my sister-in-law works, they say things like, why don't you slow down a little? Or I don't have stuff for you right now. And they are like eager to do what's next. And I appreciate that, but why don't you go to the bathroom? Or I would say over the summer when they were working there, can you let the dogs out? I can't, Mom, I'm working. Are you out of your fucking mind? You don't know what working is. Working is this communal, or do I not know what working is anymore? Like it's, I don't
know if you've ever worked
a happy
job.
medium.
I don't know if you personally have ever worked a job where you've had to bill your time in increments.
I did. I hated it. It was for an accountant.
Yeah.
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Some, they've even cut it. Some go in increments of 8. Like they're even making it tighter and tighter. It's ridiculous. Well, because a phone call doesn't take 15 minutes and clients get wise, you know. So whatever. It is more fair to the client, but it's also ridiculous when you think of how many 8-minute segments. Well, how many 8-minute segments can you cram into 15 minutes if you took 3 calls, right? So, right. They were 3 6-minute calls or whatever, so they each count as 8 minutes. Like, it's all just a giant cheat. The reality is the giant cheat goes both ways. Back when I was working, I've said this before, I had a light that I wish I had figured out to put it on a timer. My light in my office was always on. I always had a shirt or a jacket or a sweatshirt or a sweater hanging on my chair. I always had a fresh coffee so that it was steaming in my room any time of day. I frequently would have shoes there under the desk. I would leave the computer on, right? Change the window and the shade. Sometimes I would come in from meetings where I was horsing around and fuck shit around in the office just so it was switched on or different around so that it looked like someone was constantly there, whether I was there or not. And I had employees say, hey, can you go move the shit in my office? Can you go do this? Can you put some shoes under my desk? Can you turn the lights on and off? We would do these sorts of things for each other. And that's now they even have little, for people who work for home, they would have a mouse mover, right? So that when you sit, so that when you sit in a meeting, so that it's your mouse
constantly.
And the reality is your kids have not learned the lesson that will serve them well, and that is the lesson of future work. Frankly, it's the lesson of all work. But the lesson of future work is none of us ever build by our moment-to-moment productivity. We are not built on a time-based system. We are not paid and compensated, nor should we build out based on how much time the task takes or how much time was spent on said task. We should be paid based on solving problems. We are here to perform a service and to solve a problem. And how we do that efficiently, because if you're paid on a time-based system, the more efficient you become, the more skilled and expert you become at solving a problem, the less money you make. So it's a flawed system. Right. So instead, in this case, where the whole idea is they're doing record keeping for the law firm, they're doing data entry for the law firm, they should set some kind of a target. And this is your daily or weekly or monthly target. And then you hit that. And when you hit it, this is the compensation we've agreed to. And everyone's happy. And now you're going on walks in the middle of the day. And now you're taking a power yoga class. And now you're, getting a nooner, whatever it is you're doing, right? Everyone is happy under this arrangement, except for the people who have long-term corporate leases that can't have bodies to fill their space.
Right. We need to fill this and get paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also discovered online there's a new reveal. You know how I feel about gender reveals?
I do.
I fucking hate them.
I was going to say it's a full no. In case you don't know.
Fucking hate them. I don't understand why you think everybody gives a fuck about what's coming out from between your legs, so much so that you burn down your house, that you set grandma on fire, that you had an explosion that killed the dog, that you cut open your kid's finger because they were holding the balloon and you threw a dart at it. Stop doing this. Please. So there's a new one that's an interactive for us to figure out what is the reveal. Is it, and I know there's a sound effect for this, but is it ADHD or autism?
What?
That's the new one. That whatever is the diagnosis comes in for a late teen to mid-20s
oh my God.
Human, and they're cutting open a cake. If it's pink, it's autism. If it's blue, it's ADHD. And they jumped right on the bandwagon of finding out what my diagnosis is. And I thought it was funny because they did it with a cake and they didn't blow anyone up. And I think they were mocking those gender reveals because
that can't be how you tell someone, here's this clinical mental diagnosis that you get to manage around for the rest of your life that we don't fully understand and still has stigma. Let's buy you a cake. And put it on
TikTok. She did not know until she cut into that cake. She was looking for like the icing color. Nope. When she pulled it out, she goes, "It's autism." Like she was really disappointed.
Come on.
And everybody else around her said, "I knew it.
No,
I fucking knew it."
No,
the same way
today,
they do, it's
Josh.
a boy.
No,
I'm
making an autism cake.
Grape pie. What accent was that, Melissa?
I'm making a water pie. I'm making a water pie.
So gross. So fucking gross. While we're down here, Stuart and I take walks with each dog. We do it separately, one at a time. It's our 3 to 4 mile morning walk every day. And as we go through the very same walk, we attribute personalities and stories to the homes that we pass every single day. This guy over here is always reading, as my father would have said growing up, the papers. He's reading all the papers in the morning. He's listening to NPR. He has a mezuzah on his door. He has, we have made him this old Jewish grandpa. We've really given stories to almost every house we pass. One of them specifically he hates because they have a garage, big 2-car garage, and grass for their driveway. It is not a driveway. They do not use it as a driveway. They use it as a front lawn.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I said, well, what if they use that garage as a home office and they don't want cars in there? So maybe they've furnished and finished and done. So we have stories for everyone. Well, we ran into one of these people who told us their real story. And I'm both excited and disappointed because we're so much better at storytelling than this guy who cornered us and made us listen to his 40 years in the schmata business and listen to a whole, I now audit my classes at Villanova and they ask me to lecture everyone. Like, I liked it better when we kept it concise and we kept it sweet, and I'm watching you talk and the white hemiche on the side of your mouth has drifted down to your chin, and I can't even hear you anymore. I think he ruined it for us, but his season's over and
Out
we
he
can walk
goes.
quietly now. Do you ever do that? Do you ever see somebody who's on car line? I guess you know everybody at school anyway, but who's at the library or who's somewhere, you see them all the time and you're like, I'll bet, kind of like Josh's mom. She's wearing scrubs. She's probably working in a hospice facility and just cleaning out the food after the cafeteria, whatever it is. Do you do that with people in your life?
I don't so much make up story and backstory for others as I do make decisions on their behalf. This is who they are and what they're doing. It's just decided for them. That's it. It's not a story. It's not a fiction. It's just the way it is. More frequently than that, I have full-blown, actual, audible conversations with the thoughts in my head, because frequently now on the weekend, I will respond to something that I'm thinking, and then I will hear a, what? What's that? Who's that? I'm like, who are you talking to? I'm talking to myself. Who else would I be talking to?
Don't butt in.
Why?
Eavesdropper.
Why? Because I have to answer. What do you mean? Why? What kind of question
I've created
is that?
a problem and now I'm going to solve it. What do you mean, why?
Because I'm having a literal conversation. This is how that works. So, and you frequently have two-sided conversations with your pets. So is it really such a
Absolutely.
big jump that you would do it with your own brain or with the person in the car aside, right, alongside you?
When I'm alone.
Yes. So.
Yeah, but the dogs have never disappointed me by coming up with their own story and answering for reals. I'm terrified at the day that they do. You know, we have 3. We have also purchased a Vestaboard for my husband for our 25th anniversary. He absolutely loved this fixture in Amy's house, and the idea of a train board sharing with you a daily thought, the weather, the scores of our home team games and all that jazz, until our youngest canine pretty much shits her pants
it is
every
very
time
loud,
it goes
and it can
off.
be very jarring. But I think that some familiarization will occur. She'll relax. She'll get used to it.
Hasn't happened yet. However, it's all very new to her still. The other 2 dogs will lift their heads up and look as you hear.
It's super loud.
As
It's super scary. It's very loud and scary. Yeah.
As it goes through and updates. And today it gave like a beach wave for no reason
Yeah, it has an
whatsoever.
art
And I
setting.
thought,
yeah.
that's lovely. And a snail, whatever it is. Half of them I can't figure out because it's just pixels and I had to stand further. But I don't know. She does not like it.
Oh boy.
And since then, she likes me a lot more because she
hidden
knows what's
benefit.
coming.
Hidden benefit. I love it.
Very hidden benefit. What else you got for us today, Amy?
Well, I was surprised that the major news of the day wasn't the first thing that would be on the board for us to discuss.
I don't know what to say about that. Go ahead.
Well, it turns out that P. Diddy Combs is officially the diddler and has been
Have you heard of him?
doing some unsavory acts with a wide array, an Epsteintonian array of folk, to the tune that he has been denied bail and sits in prison awaiting the next phase of his adjudication over this ridiculous sexual assault and predation that he carried out for more than 10 years.
Systematically. Yes, yes. First of all, who has 1,000 bottles of baby oil in their home?
It's not even.
You
It's
clearly
not
had
even
plans.
good lube. Let's just be clear.
Oh, it's terrible
Yeah.
lube.
So
It's
what are you using it for?
slide across the
It's
floor.
not-
I no clue.
It breaks everything down. It's not good. It ruins your furniture. Like, stop it. What are we doing?
Look, is this why and how Justin Bieber went from this like cute little upstart found through Disney or from the internet, got under this bat wing of the Diddy, and then wound up fully tatted, getting into trouble, thinking he is God's gift too, and just being brain fucked? Like, is that how he turned so bad so fast? Is that?
Yes, I don't love the story. I don't even understand it fully, so I don't do any of the deep dives to get the kind of information, but the jokes are so rampant, I can't avoid it. What I have heard, unsubstantiated, of course, is that Justin Bieber was, for some reason, some other rapper or personality, maybe it was Usher, ended up with guardianship of him.
Yes, he sure
and
did.
then for
yes.
a 24-hour period loaned him out to Diddy. There was some such a
That phrase right there
yeah.
is not.
So the
is
whole
not.
the whole thing is so weird. This was a young kid who was interested in a life in the music scene, which is notoriously abusive toward women. The rap scene is notoriously abusive toward women. And he was really unprotected. And I think the worst occurred. And so not only was he exposed to a lot of stuff that we don't love any human, we don't love framing the minds of young men to think this way and to perceive that the world is this way, or to even encounter a world like this any more than we want the victimized women to see it or have that happen. But we don't want to create another predator just by grooming him into it. We don't want any of that shit to happen. Then you layer on the idea of this is just a kid. This literally was a teenage kid. So how vulnerable, how easily shaped were his ideas. And the rumor that I heard was that he was sexually assaulted by these guys. So in addition to going and sitting in a position of power over other people that you're going to sexually assault, that he himself was sexually assaulted by them. So that's part of the reason that there's so much risk of Diddy being out of prison while he awaits his next phase, because he would intimidate and has attempted to intimidate other witnesses and people that he would film people without their consent coming to these events, doing all these acts, and then he would use that as blackmail over them for years.
He's got his own Scientology gig going on over there. He is a one-ring Scientologist. They have a platform that does just that. Tell us all of your secrets. He actually created them. And really the reason I didn't put it on the board, because I don't know enough about it. I'm
Nobody
pretty
can.
sure.
Even the people who say they know don't know shit.
I think this is so much farther outreaching than we're going to know for years. Like, I feel the names people are dropping. Jay-Z, what?
Right.
He is the people that are speaking out are saying, I'm glad you have Diddy in prison. You know who deserves the cell next to him? And they are listing really big names, like really, really big. So I can't imagine how big this gets, and I am so physically uncomfortable with all of it. Will we talk more about it in the future when we know more? Yes, ma'am. But until then, this is with like the grape soda pie that Woodapie, that bitch tried to make.
I don't understand any part of it. I don't. Trying to get my head around the idea of, okay, I'm 21 years old. I have more money than I've lost the concept of what money is because I have so much of it. I've lost the concept of power and influence because I have so much of it. Anything that I want, I get instantly. I am completely directing all aspects of everyone around me's lives. I'd say it happens. Why would I invent this perverse, literally perverse in the sense that it's not pleasurable, this crazed Disneyland style torture chamber for other people who want to get away, that I have to physically restrain and drag them back in? I don't get how anybody, I can't ever understand how anybody would take pleasure in forcing somebody to do or be something that they don't want to be over and over again. Like they don't connect. So it's clearly it wasn't about sex. It's about something totally different.
Power. I really feel like it's power. I can make these marionettes dance. Watch this. I can get these names to show up to my party because they know what's going to be here. They're going to see and participate if they want in. Yeah, it's power, and it's fucking gross. And I could throw up that grape pie. However, I will not, and we will bring you more when it comes out, unless you write us and say, I don't want that content. And the way you would do that is writing to brilliantobservations@gmail.com.
Hashtag Diddy did it.
Hashtag Diddy did it. Diddy did it? Yes, he did. He did it. Or go see us on the socials. Listen Brilliant on Instagram. Don't look for Fugazi on Facebook because she was hacked. And is there any follow-up? Do you have any steps taken?
Moved the needle on that, but I'm sure I'll just sidestep it all and create a new account.
We're too busy keeping up on the New York Times connections puzzle to do anything else. By the way, my husband, while at the hospital today, played Connections and sent it to me. And I thought, all right, you're using your time
I'm glad
wisely.
I stabbed you in the back if this is what it took.
This is exactly what it took. Dear listener, thank you for turning out for us. Thank you for turning us on. We know we didn't turn you on this. But we do love you, and we want you to come back and stay with us and be a part of our lives in perpetuity. That's forever. Bye. I like a good poll.